All right, guys. Uh, Welcome to the fourth lecture. We're gonna go through UITableView for this lecture. Some quick announcement. A2 is due on Wednesday night. At Thursday night. Actually, this is an error on my part. It's Thursday night, 11:59 p.m. And then mentor matching are done, and they are released to the mentor, so they should have already reached out to you, or they will be reaching out soon. By Wednesday they haven't reached out to me, let me know. I'll give them a nudge and yell at them. And then A3 will be released on Thursday as well. So right after A2 is due, it will be released. So far we've covered some basic Swift syntax, and also we covered UI kit and auto layout and delegation. And today we're going through UITableView. Okay, just a quick recap. So MVC stands for Model View Controller. Model represent the data, and view are what the user see. Controller communicate between model and view. And we also covered push and pop, present and dismiss. View controllers to navigate between them. And delegation is used to allow a child view controller, which is also known as our delegator, to communicate with the parent view controller, which is the delegate. Now, from the last lecture, we've played with the push view controller button, and this is just the code for how to use the button. And then we also covered how to push view controller, and this is just the general code for how to use it. If you guys want to visit back to this slide, the slides will be published after the lecture. And this is for pop. I'm gonna skip this slide. And delegation. So these are the steps for delegation that we did from last lecture. First, we want to make a delegate protocol in the parent view, and then we want to extend the parent view to conform the delegate protocol. Remember that when we didn't conform the delegate protocol for the parent view, there was an error in our Swift, in our Xcode. It was just yelling at us for not conforming to it. And then next step is we want to make a property in the child view that holds the data you are changing, including the delegate. And then we want to make custom init in the child view that take the delegate as an input. And then we want to update the push and the pop functions. Okay, so what is the UITableView? So far we only looked at static view, but then popular apps like Instagram and Spotify you can scroll through, or even an example of if you go on your iPhone, you click on setting, you can also scroll through, and there are little cells, and you can click into those little cells. So UITableView is formally it's a scrollable view. It's a visual representation of an array of data. So it is an array of data. So looking at Spotify, each one of these songs are cells, and this whole thing is a UITableView. So is the setting. As you can see in the setting, there's sections, but we want to focus on each little tabs, and it start from row 0 and then just go down to row 1, row 2, row 3. So in the setting, it's split it into section, and then just start over at row 4 or row 3 or row 5. But then in the Spotify, this just goes to row 1, row 2, row 3, because it doesn't have sections. And let's recall the model view control. So in the Spotify example, the model is the each row that contain the image and the author, and then also the song name. And the giant rectangle on the screen is the UITableView, and each row is known as the UITableView cell. And so yeah. All right. Okay, so for the setup, we want to make a cell first, So we want to extend the UITableView cell, and then it's like a normal view controller, but instead of view did load, we want to use init, and then we need to configure each cell. So in this example that we're gonna do today, each cell has the bird image and then also has the bird name. So we will configure each cell with the bird image and the bird name in this configure function that we're gonna write. Okay, let's get to the demo.
All right, any questions while he's setting up? Or was that pretty clear? I think table views are pretty intuitive. But let us know if you have any questions. Yeah.
Okay, so let's jump into the folder that we want to clone the repository in. So I'm gonna go into demo, just drag the folder, and cd drag the folder actually, and then go to the iOS website, the textbook website, go to lecture, UITableView, and then copy this line of code, git clone, and this repository, and we just want to paste it in there. Okay. And then it should be in the folder that you have dragged into your terminal. So it's lecture 4 UITableView, and then click on the Xcode project.
Sorry guys, just a moment. Sorry, here, this one.
Yeah. Wait, actually, I can open it here.
Oh, nice.
Do you know?
There's no reference.
Okay.
Or the folder, the directory doesn't exist.
Okay, so we
So
just
you
want to
delete
delete this. Okay. What I just did is I deleted like the folder. If you also clone the repository, there should be like a view folder that's red. That means there's no reference to that folder, or the folder does not exist. So I just deleted it. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna make a new one. And drag this into lecture.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So first, wait.
Oh, I'm trying to look at the slides.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So since we covered model view control, let's go into the model first and examine our model. Remember that here we mentioned that each cell is a model. It contains the bird image and also contains their bird name. So we use a struct for this bird, and notice that it has a let name equals to string and let image equals to string. So when we configure the cell, which we'll do in a bit, we'll send in the name into the configure, and we also specify the image name, and actually the image is already provided to you. So we just, like, for example, we say image equals Elvis or something like that, and then it'll just show this image. And for this demo, we're gonna use like hard-coded data, which it's already set up to. And then we have name is bin, stuff like that. Okay, so let's make the table view cell. Wait, why is this blue compared to?
I think think it's outside of lecture. Oh no, it's not.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's because you made a folder, not a group. It's
Oh, wait,
you
it's
can
not
use
gonna
it.
work.
No, it will work.
Yes, I tried.
Wait, really? So just do new group.
All right. New group views.
So when you're making new folders, I recommend to use groups. So it'll show you like new group or new folder. Yeah, group is generally better, I think.
Okay. I've never used groups, so I wouldn't know. But this repository was set up with all groups, so I think we have to conform to it. Okay, let's make a new empty file and call it bird table view cell. Okay. All right. And then
You should probably use the right click.
right click.
To make
We
it-
want to import UIKit. My computer a little laggy. And then make a class called bird table view cell. We want to make the class name the same as our file name. And then as an extension, it's a type of UITableView cell. See, Xcode is smart. They want like autofill for us. But for purpose of practicing, we want to type all the code ourselves. And then we're gonna first define our properties. So let's document it. Mark dash properties. This is our views. We're gonna put the views here. We need the bird image view, and then we also need the name label. So let's use private let bird image equals to UI image view, and then private let bird name label equals to UI label. Can anyone explain like why we use let here instead of var?
That's a tough question.
Well, it's like a review question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Great. Yeah. Good job. And then we want to write our init function. So here's where our init function can exist. So here, we want to use the override init because it comes with the init, but we don't want to use the default init. So let's just use the code that they provided, and then we call super.init style style
Yeah.
reuse identifier, and then off reuse identifier. Okay. Alright, now it's yelling at us because we need the require initializer function. Okay, you can just simply press the fix button and it'll give us the code. Okay, now we want to configure our views. So we want to configure our cell. So here we configure, and then function configure. We don't want to use the private here because we want to let the view controller be able to access later. So bird name dot image. Oh, I don't think it's called.
It's already kind of auto completed.
Oh, bird image dot image
Yeah.
equals to UI image named bird dot image, and then bird name label dot text equals to bird dot name.
So just to take a brief pause here, can anyone explain kind of what he just did? And this is just kind of throwing back to like what we learned about classes. So.
bird image to like a given bird's
Mhm.
image, and then the bird name label to a given bird's name by calling on the dot image and dot
Yeah.
name.
So yeah, remember these are classes, so we're changing the properties inside of them. And later on, he'll demo it, but configure will be called by like the table view to set up for each item in the array. So yeah.
Okay, thank you, Hassan. And then now we want to set up the views. We want to make the functions to set up these views. So mark setup views here. Now these functions are private, like we've always been doing. Private func setup bird image. Bird image dot content mode. Oh, okay. Notice how I autofill this to scale aspect fill. Let's leave it like that for now, and like we'll see how it turned out later. And then we want to use content view dot add subview bird image. Okay, and then we want to do bird image dot, remember this very long code that we don't care what it means, and then we'll set it equal to false. You always need to have this when you set up a view in the UI kit. And then we want to do the layout. So ns layout constraint dot activate. Wow, it's trying to autofill everything for us, but we're not sure if we want everything they give us. So let's make it for ourselves. Let's do the closing brackets first so we don't forget. Okay. Bird image dot leading anchor. Oh, okay, delete it.
Muscle memory.
Yeah, muscle memory. Constraint equal to content view dot leading anchor, and then constant, let's use 16, and then bird image dot center y anchor. I autofill this, but let's type it ourselves. Constraint equal to content view dot center y anchor, and then another one, bird image dot width anchor dot constraint equal to constant 64. This sets the width of the image. Can you explain like why like we use content view?
Oh yeah. Just a brief note. See how here we use content view, but like for a normal view controller, we would use view instead. It's just like a semantic thing. For all intents and purposes, you can think of content view as like the view that's going, the view that's gonna show, and then like in this case, it's each cell, right? So think about it like content view here is a row. So.
All right. Okay. All right. Let's make the next function. We've set up the bird image. Now let's set up the bird name. Private func setup name label. Bird name label dot text color. Use dot label. Bird name label dot font equals dot system font of size 20, and then for the weight let's use dot medium. Okay, same thing, content view that add subview bird name label, and then bird name label dot translate auto equals to false. Okay. And then let's set up the layout, ns layout constraint dot activate, close the bracket, and then bird name label dot leading anchor dot constraint equal to bird image dot trailing anchor constant 8. So this sets the front of the name label to the end of the bird image. So this way we don't have to like manually calculate how far this name label is away from the side of the screen. We just have to, we basically attach it to the end of the image, to the right side of the image. Okay, bird name label dot center y anchor dot constraint equal to content view dot trailing anchor. Oh my bad. Content view dot center y anchor. Bird name label dot trailing anchor dot constraint equal to content view dot trailing anchor constant 16. Okay, so we have finished setting up all the subviews. Notice how like this is kind of like at weird positions. One trick to do is like you can just command all, select everything, and then press Control I to kind of auto format. So Xcode does the format for you.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. All right. So there's one last thing that we didn't do yet. Does anyone know?
Yep. Okay. Yes. Very nice.
Yeah. Okay. So let's call setup bird image here and set up name label here. Okay. Okay. This is like right now, like we have display. We have finished setting up the table view cell, but it's not enough to like show anything at the moment. Like if we run it, it's not gonna show anything because our like we haven't defined the table that will like display these cells. So okay, let's let it build and see what's up. Actually, like I'm not gonna wait for it to finish because the first build is gonna take very long. But we can come back. I'm gonna let it build, and then we can come back after we finish the next demo. By the time it should also finish building. Okay. So we just made a cell, and we want to talk about this topic of like dequeuing the cells. If you have like millions of data, like for example, if we have millions of bird that we want to show, eventually show, or like show as you scroll, we don't want to store all of those bird at once, because that's gonna take a lot of memory. So we want to instead only allocate memory for cells that we can see on the screen, or otherwise we'll waste a lot of memory to load all of those cells. So the solution is dequeuing cells. Dequeuing cells is more memory efficient, and all cells are not on the screen when you scroll are being dequeued. So all the cells that are not on the screen when you scroll, they are being dequeued. So going back here, so when a demo scrolls down, the top cell is being dequeued, and this memory will be used for another cell. And we can do this because each cell is alike, and they have the same properties. Like for these birds, they have image and they also have name. Okay, and these are the steps to do the dequeuing cells and also set up the table. And we're not gonna read through all of them. We're just gonna go straight to the demo, and afterward we can come back to look at them.
It's easier to show than tell.
Yeah. Okay.
Got it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I got it. Okay, so this is nice. They already wrote the documentation for us. So we're gonna set up a variable table view. Goes to UITableView. So this will make the table view for us. We define the table view here. Okay. And then later we're gonna make this function set up table view. Let's call this function now so we don't forget it. When we set up the view cell, we leave it as the last step, but it doesn't matter. So let's make a function called private func setup table view. All right. Let's register the table view. Register bird table view cell self for cell reuse identifier bird table view cell reuse. Yep. Did we set up a reuse?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Just briefly comment on what he just did there. As the function name kind of suggests, we're registering like a table view cell. So so for this table view, it might not know what kind of table view cell you're gonna give it. So by giving it the actual class, it'll know like, oh, it has property bird image and it has property bird name label and stuff like that. So it'll know to use this class of table view cell when it starts dequeuing and like enqueuing table view cells. So.
Yep. So in the bird table view cell, we also define this variable reuse. So now in the view controller, we can for cell reuse identifier, we can use table view cell dot reuse. All right. So let's set table view dot delegate equals to self, and table view dot data source equals to self. And then here, instead of content view, we use view dot add view table view. Oh yeah. So this issue is because we haven't set up these two functions yet. So we're gonna just let it yell at us for a little bit until we set them up. Okay, now remember that very long name, very long code. So table view dot translate auto resizing mask into constraints equals to false, and then ns layout constraints dot activate and table view dot leading anchor dot constraint equal to, wait, is this actually correct? View dot leading anchor. So we're setting the left side of the table view to the left side of the main view, which is like, you can think of it as your screen. And table view dot trailing anchor dot constraint equal to view dot trailing anchor. So same for this, we're setting the right side of the table view to be the right side of the view. And then table view dot top anchor dot constraint equal to view dot save area layout guide dot top anchor. Oops. And table view dot bottom anchor dot constraint equal to view dot save area layout guide dot bottom anchor. Okay, don't forget to close this, and then let's format it. So now let's conform to the delegate. Extension controller UITableView delegate. And then function table view table view.
Just let it off.
Oh.
It's a little long.
Yeah, there's a lot of like code in this one, and it might look confusing. You guys are not required to know, like, to understand all of the code in these two sections, but know that like it's important, like it's required for this table view to work. So in your assignment, feel free to go back to the demo and then use like a skeleton of this code and just fill in the things that needs to be changed. Does it have like a view for this? Hmm? Return a type of
Wait,
thing.
no, this is for the data source. Pretty sure.
Oh wait, yeah.
Just change that part.
Yeah. Expand, return.
While Jay types away, any brave soul wanna guess what that just did? That function right there in the UITableView delegate. And to give you a hint, look at height for row at. Okay, I'll take this one. So for what you're doing here essentially is, for each row, you're returning a float, and that float will be used to determine the height for each row. Think of it like you're giving it back a number to set it as the height for each cell that you're making.
Um, passing a function in the front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should change the identifier. Or you're gonna change it later.
So wait.
Okay.
Count. Alright, whoa.
Do you want to just autofill it? You can.
Just paste this. Alright. Font table view. Table number of rows in a section. Alright.
Okay, nice.
So.configure bird. What's wrong here? Incorrect argument.
No expected width. Okay.
Yeah. Alright.
Let me explain it.
Yeah.
Right. So
Okay. Oh yeah, do you want to talk about it?
okay, yeah. I can talk about this section. So here we're conforming view controller to UITableView data source, which is basically you have these functions and you're supplying your table view with data. So remember we talked about the model about for each bird. So we're basically giving it birds, right? And here on these are the two functions you need to actually have a table view. So here you have to give the number of rows you want for each section. Remember there are sections and rows, but for here we only have one section, kind of like the Spotify list. It's one big section with a lot of rows. So here we return birds.count because remember birds is the array we're using. Remember we're displaying an array of data. So we want this amount of rows. Yeah, it's that simple. But now on to the probably harder part to understand. So here, this is cell for row at, and this is the dequeuing stuff that we talked about earlier. So here, we're dequeuing the cell. So how we do that is calling tableview.dequeue reusable cell. And then we have to give it the identifier. Remember the thing we did with here with registering? We gave it the reusable identifier. So we have to give it again here, so it knows like what kind of row we're trying to dequeue. And this is especially useful if you're using, I mean it's necessary, but its use becomes more apparent the more different types of table view cells you have. So let's say if you had another version with like a little description, maybe that could be bird table view cell 2 dot views or whatever. So, and here index path gets kind of weird. Let me pull up the slides. Can you pull up the slides?
Yeah.
So here, if you remember, yeah, here, this is a good representation of the index path. So there's index path.section and index path.row. So what it basically does is it's a data wrapper for all your indices. So it'll go through each section. So if you have 3 sections, it's going to go through section 0, 1, 2. And then for each section, it's going to go through the index of each rows. So here, section 0, row 0, etc., etc.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so here, we see we make use of guardlet, and that's because we have to return a UITableView cell. And in the case that dequeuing fails, all we're saying here is that if it fails, we want to return an empty table view cell. So if in the case it fails, it's just gonna return like a blank white row. But in the case that it does succeed, what we're doing here is reconfiguring it. So we see cell.configure, and then we're giving it birds.indexPath row. So yeah, we're giving it new data, we're supplying it with new data, and reconfiguring the cell, and then we just return it. So
Yeah, thank you, Hassan. And then like we ran the program and it looks like this. So there's like something wrong with like our cell that we did wrong. Does anyone want to like take a guess?
Is it like the fit versus fill?
Yeah. Yeah, so right here, good job, Amy. Right here we did like content mode, bird image.content mode equals that scale aspect fill. Like it just fills the space, so it's extra big. So we want to use fit instead, so it fits to the cell instead of like filling it. iOS 26 is pretty cool.
yeah, it is very cool.
So now it's like it's good. We can scroll. Yeah. Okay. That's the end of demo for today. Does anyone have any question, or is there like any part that's confusing? All right. Okay, let's go to the Kahoot. Um, wait, I got it.
Did you put in the link?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, nice.
All right. This is your attendance, and let's use your net ID so we can take attendance.